Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening. I think we can start our session. Hey, can you hear me?
Boleh ada.
All right, thank you. All right, before we start with our lecture, I would like to apologize about week before the midterm, which I cannot conduct the class online like this because I'm not feeling well that day. But I have prepared the recorded video for that topic, which is quality management system. So I hope those videos will help you to understand about the topic of quality management system lah. Alright, but if you have any question regarding that particular topic, you may ask after our session today, right? Okay, so today we are going to move on to the last topic of my part, okay, which is waste management system. Okay, we have another week next week with me, which I'm going to brief you regarding your assessment for this subject next week. So after that, Dr. Shazarina will take over until end of semester lah. Alright, so basically today is the last day of our lecture lah. So next week will be a briefing for our assessment, for your assessment, and then the following week Dr. Shazra will take over. Alright, so this is the lecture outline for today's topic. Okay, we will have an introduction, especially to the context of construction industry. Okay, we are going to touch a little bit on the scenarios of construction industry, especially related to the waste management system in our country. Then we are going to have a look on the construction versus environment. Okay, how construction industry could impact the environmental aspect negatively. All right, then after that we are going to move on to the second part of today's lecture, which is on waste management. We're going to touch on the issues related to waste management, the waste management hierarchy, and then we are going to have a look on some of the waste minimization strategies that we could consider that we could implement it throughout the construction cycle, okay, from planning stage, procurement stage, construction stage, and so on. And then the final part of the second section of our lecture is we are going to discuss on the challenges in terms of how we could emphasize the element of waste management system in our construction project. What are the challenges that we could face in order to make sure that we could emphasize on the element of waste management. And then the third part of our lecture, today we are going to have a look on some of the government initiatives in encouraging the construction players to focus more on waste management system. Okay, we are going to have a look what has been done by our government in order to make sure that the construction players could reduce the waste that going to be generated from the construction project. And the last part of our lecture today, we are going to have a look on one of the concepts, which known as lean construction concept, that could be adopted in the construction industry in order to minimize the generation of construction waste. Okay, so we are going to have a look on the history of lean, all right, the principle of lean concept, and also what are the obstacles in implementing lean construction in the construction project. All right. So let's move to the first part of my lecture today, okay, on the introduction of construction industry. So basically, what is construction industry? I believe majority of you have been involved in the construction industry for several years. Okay, maybe some of you more than 10 years, maybe. All right. So basically, the term itself, construction industry, will bring some confusion to certain people. Okay, because some people will call it as a construction industry, some people will call it as a building industry, some people will call it as a combination of both construction and building industry. And nowadays, we have been referred as a built environment industries and so on. Whatever it is, whatever people call it, construction industry can be defined in many ways. All right. One of the definition of construction industry is that it will embrace a wide range of integrated organization. Okay, so I think you are aware that when you involve in construction industry, you will be working with many organizations. Okay, from contractors. All right, contractor, we have several expertise. All right, we have consultants. Okay, we have different background consultants, M&E, QS, architect, and so on. And then, of course, the client and so on. So those organizations that have been involved in the construction industry, they must realize that they have the responsibility to construct, alter, and repair. So that the main responsibility of those organizations involved in the construction project or in the construction industry. Okay, then they must realize that they have the responsibility to construct, alter, and repair of building and civil engineering structures. Okay, so this is the two major works of construction project. Okay, you can be involved in building projects or you can be involved in civil engineering projects. Okay, building projects, for example, like office buildings, school, housing, and so on. While civil engineering projects, for example, like highways, okay, bridges, dams, all right, land reclamation, etc. All right, so this is one of the way we can define construction industry. When you involve in construction industry, you must be realize that construction industry involve several activities. Okay, from planning, designing, construction, maintenance, and also demolition. Okay, you have to plan what you want to construct. All right. So when you have the idea, then you start to design. Okay. So how many story you want, what the layout, and so on. So after that, of course, after designing, you will have a tendering stage lah. Okay, you will go for selective tender or open tender. All right. Then after you selected the contractors, we are going to move on to the next activity, which is construction. Okay, so here we are going to construct based on the design given. Okay, so the construction stage duration will vary. It depends on the size of the project. Can be 2 years, 3 years, and so on. So after we complete the project, we have to maintain. Okay, so maintain after that, after a certain period of time, maybe 20 years or 30 years, we want to redevelop that area. We are going to demolish that building and we will start all over again. So from those activities, as long as if we well plan and manage, we can produce product, okay, such as building, highways, airports, dams, okay, tunnels, and etc. Okay, so this also one of the way we can define construction industry. It involve activities that are going to produce products. All right. Next, we are going to move on to the scenarios of construction industry. Okay, so basically, construction industry is not about constructing something, okay, building or infrastructure and so on. Okay, so basically, construction industry, especially in developing countries like Malaysia, play a key role in our GDPs, okay, gross domestic product. Okay, we are very important industries in developing countries like Malaysia. Okay, why we are being considered as one of the important industry? Because our size and because we can create the element of multiplier effect to other industries. Okay, that's the uniqueness of construction industry. Okay, what does it mean by multiplier effect? Okay, for example, like this first point, enable the growth of other industry through its role as fundamental building block. Okay, so when we have a project, we will get involved other industries as well. Okay, for example, we have a MRT project, let's say. Okay, we need a lot of materials, and all those materials will come from manufacturing industry. Okay, so secara tak langsung, when we have a project, manufacturing industry will get involved. All right. So another example, besides manufacturing industry will get involved when there is a project. Financial sector also will get involved because we are using a lot of financial sectors, okay, for payment, for insurance, okay, and etc. All right, so that's how we can influence other industries. Okay, that's what we call it as a multiplier effect. Yeah, ada yang nak join. Okay, so that's how we can influence the industry. Okay, that's how we influence or how we can create the element of multiplier effect during the construction project, projects. Okay, bila projek berjalan, that's how we can impact other industries. So secara tak langsung, indirectly, other industry will also contribute to our GDP, to our economy. Alright. So the second one, essential element of a healthy and functioning economy. Okay, so means that we, construction industry, is not only can influence other industries during the construction projects, we also can influence other industries after the completion of the project. Okay, so for example, like we produce or we constructed educational institution. Okay, we have constructed a lot of schools, universities, and so on. Okay, educational institution is very important sector in or very important component in any country. Okay, because we are going to prepare for our, a group of people for our future. Okay, for our future generation and so on. So that's how we can influence the economy. All right, government offices like we built Putrajaya, for example. We have a one-stop center for government offices. Okay, indirectly we can convince the investors, okay, the foreign investors, that we have a proper administration of our government. Okay, of course, the obvious example beside these two is tourist attractors. Okay, we built KCC, for example. So after the completion of the KCC, a lot of tourists will come to our country. So indirectly, it will contribute to the tourism sector. Okay, so tourism sector will give a positive impact to our GDPs. All right, so that's how we can influence our economy. Okay, besides constructing building and so on. But however, despite all these advantages, all these important aspects of construction industry, okay, construction industry is being reported as a pollution generator, okay, that destroy the environment, in which will lead to undesirable impacts towards economy and social aspect of the country. Okay, so why we has been considered as one of the pollution generator, because this is partly due to how the construction industry continues to encourage what we call it as a linear based practices, or we call it as a linear economy. Take, make, consume, dispose. Okay. All right. We have a project, we build it, we consume, and after that we dispose. Okay. This is what we call it as a linear economy. All right. So it means that we have currently we have a lot of resources that are abundant and widely available. Okay, we don't have consideration about the issue of resource depletion, okay, the issue on environmental aspect and so on. So there's one of the option that the cheapest option that we have is to dispose all our waste. Okay, that's what we call it as a linear economy. And beside that, beside this linear economy situation that has been widely practiced in our, especially in our construction industry, one of the reasons why we been considered as a pollution generator as well, because we still depending on the labor intensive method or traditional method of construction. Okay, so if we still depending on that traditional method of construction, we will produce a lot of waste, and the waste that has been generated is not being properly managed, and then indirectly it will influence the environment. So that's the issue that we need to cater lah in the future, not individual, starting from actually government dah put a lot of effort, which we are going to develop after this. Alright, there are common issue that we need to address regarding the construction waste that has been generated from our construction industry. Okay, one of them is that the amount of waste that has been generated daily in our construction industry, particularly in our country. As you can see in this slide, there are about 26,000 tons of construction waste were generated daily. Okay, you times 365 days, how many millions tons of construction waste being generated from our construction industry. Okay, so that's a concerning issue that need to be looked at. Okay, because if we don't have a proper waste management system, we will face a lot of problem later on. Okay, because as you can see, our construction industry in Malaysia is very rapid. Previously, not right now lah. Right now, of course, it's quite slow. But previously, we have a lot of projects, all right, especially on housing project and so on. So we need to find a solution on how we can reduce the amount of waste that is going to be generated from the construction project. Or at least we need to find ways on how we can manage properly the waste that has been generated from the construction projects. Okay, that's one of the issues. Another issue is about illegal dumping. Okay, so this is one of the critical issue in our country as well. Okay, so because one of the problem faced by the contractor is that not all landfills receive construction waste. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, so when there is no option, what contractor did is that they dump all the waste illegally. Okay, at the roadside, okay, at the river and so on. All right, so that's one of the issue. And the last one, the last critical issue that I can say is that about the environmental impacts lah. Okay, produced by the construction industry. Okay, regarding resource depletion, global warming, high pollution level, and etc. All right. So beside those issues, I would like to quote a statement derived from the research conducted by the European Commission in 2014. Okay, the statements said that as today's consumer society has expanded, so has the consumption of resources and the waste it produces. Okay, domestic waste, industrial waste, the population of the EU throws away 2.7 billion tons of it every year, okay, of which 98 million tons are hazardous. Okay, the greatest waste stream comes from construction and demolition waste. Okay. From this statement, we can say that construction waste is not only our problem. Okay, it's a global issue. Okay, which being faced by other countries as well. So it shows that we need to give more emphasis or more priority towards the construction and demolition waste, because it's already becoming a critical issue that needs to be addressed in order to create a sustainable future for our generations in the upcoming years lah. Okay. Right, let's have a look. Let's watch this short video on the construction versus environment. I'm not sure you can hear. I try it first, whether you can hear the voice or not. Boleh dengar? Can you hear the voice? Anyone? Boleh dengar?
Tak boleh kan?
Tak boleh.
Tak dengar.
Kejap. Saya buka saya punya speaker ni.
Major infrastructure in building projects.
Kalau ni?
Those projects are also creating another problem. Aging authorities say 40 million tons of construction waste is generated each year.
Dengar tak?
Which is a piling up
Dengar.
on the city and
Dengar.
the environment.
The construction boom in China is leaving behind a big problem, waste, and a lot of it.
Ya, saya kuatkan sikit.
The Chinese regime's massive economic stimulus package for countering the economic crisis provided billions for major infrastructure and building projects. But those projects are also creating another problem. Beijing authorities say 40 million tons of construction waste is generated each year, much of it piling up around the city and polluting the environment.
The construction boom in China is leaving behind a big problem, waste, and a lot of it. Millions of tons of construction waste is generated each year. Most is not properly disposed of and is threatening the environment. In Beijing, 40 million tons of construction waste is produced every year. That's over 100,000 tons a day, according to local authorities. Because of cost cutting, only 5% of that waste is properly disposed of, and less than 1% is recycled. A professor from the Beijing Institute of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Chen Jialong, says the pile-up of waste is polluting the environment.
Most of the construction waste is either covered or piled up illegally, severely contaminating the environment and occupied land. Although construction waste is different from household rubbish, it still has a negative impact on underground water.
In the outskirts of Beijing, towering piles of construction rubble is a common sight. Wu Jun has been living next to one for nearly a year.
I moved into the residential community last June. This rubbish was already here then. When it's windy, yellow sand is everywhere in the air in my compound. Also, we have to drive out of the residence from this gate, and there are stones all over the road. It's very bumpy.
There is one recycling plant in Beijing to deal with the construction rubbish, but most companies choose to illegally dump the trash because it's easier and cheaper. Professor Chen believes it's up to authorities to address the problem.
The government should primarily carry out necessary policies to solve a series of problems that are very likely to occur in the process of collecting, disposing, and applying construction waste.
Until something is done, the amount of waste in China will only go up as authorities push for more major construction projects.
Okay, so boleh dengar? Boleh saya kan? Alright. So from that video, we can see the impact of construction waste towards the environment lah. Alright, so it's not only critical in our country. Other countries also face the same issue regarding how we can manage the waste effectively. Okay. So now we are going to focus on how we can manage waste. Alright. So firstly, we have a look on the definition of waste. Alright. In our context, we are going to focus, of course, the construction and demolition waste lah. We are not focusing on solid waste or household waste. Okay, we are focusing on construction and demolition waste. Alright, so basically construction and demolition waste can be defined as the waste generated from construction processes in which needed to be transported elsewhere from the construction site or used on the site itself other than the intended specific purpose of the project. So from this definition is already emphasized on the element of recycled, okay, indirectly transported elsewhere means that we need to, if possible, to recycle the waste that being produced from our construction project. If cannot, then we can send to maybe to landfill area. All right. Here they emphasizing on the second context, they emphasizing on the use on the site itself other than the intended specific purpose. So means that waste, by definition, if possible, we can reduce or reuse it. Okay, reuse it for other purpose. Okay, for example, like waste from generate brick. All right, waste produced from bricks. We can use that brick as temporary road, for example. Right, that's one of the reuse criteria that we can adopt in our construction project. All right. There are a lot of issues being raised in the literature or in the previous study, okay, regarding construction waste. Okay, for example, like mentioned by Teo and Lusmon in 2001, a lack of industry norm or performance standard for managing waste. Okay, so we can say that we don't have a proper standard for managing waste for a long time. All right. And meanwhile, Poon and her friends in 2004 stated that an effective material control strategy should be implemented to control wastage during the life cycle of the construction process. Okay, material control strategy. Why they want to focus on material control strategy is because most of the construction waste occur from materials, right? Okay, so we need to find strategies on how we can control the material that will be used in our construction project. Okay, another issues that has been raised in literature is about proper method or strategy is an agent demand to improve construction management to realize the mission of sustainable development. Okay, another one, a lack of consideration given to waste reduction during planning and designing stage. A well-established waste minimization strategy model and adoption of it will help much on it. Okay, so this one is very interesting. Okay, a lack of consideration given during the planning and designing stage. Okay, because most of construction players only think on how they need to manage waste after the waste has been generated. Okay, so actually we can work backward by looking at the potential strategies that we can adopt it as early as during the planning and designing stage. It means that during the planning and designing stage, we already consider how we can reduce the waste. Okay, so not after the waste has been generated, then we need to think about how we can manage the waste. Okay, so we need to work backward by looking on how we can reduce the waste as early as possible. It means that during the planning and designing stage. And the last issue is about lack of experience in the planning and scheduling may cause construction waste, poor management and handling. Okay, so that's one of the issues as well. All right. So based on that issues, we can summarize that construction and demolition waste should be managed properly according to its suitability by following the waste management hierarchy. All right. So one of the waste management hierarchy that being developed by Peng and Tan in 1997. Okay, so this is one of the popular waste management hierarchy that we can refer to when we want to manage the waste. Okay, as you can see, of course, I think most all of you are aware about the existence of 3R principle. Okay, reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, so we need to follow if possible, we need to follow the sequence of this 3R principle. Okay, means that we need to consider how we can reduce the waste generation for our project. If we cannot reduce, then we need to move on to the second principle, which is reuse. Is there any possibility that we can reuse the waste that will be generated from our construction project? And then, if not possible, we can move on to the next principle, which is recycle. Okay, is there any potential for the waste that will be generated from a construction project can be recycled? All right, so if not, then we can go to compost, incinerate, and the final step is dispose to landfill. Okay, as you can see the arrow, of course, high desirability is towards the 3R principles lah. Okay, if you focus more on the 3R principles, the impact towards the environment will be low. Okay, so that's what we call it as a waste management hierarchy. However, another study conducted by ST and Winston in 2010 stated that this 3R, if you focus only on 3R principle, is not being sufficient enough to cover the every aspect of the environmental. Okay, so based on the study conducted by ST and Whiston in 2006, they include what we call it as a reimagine and redesign element in the waste management hierarchy. Okay, so in this new approach, we have to reimagine and redesign with putting the priority towards reducing the waste generation as early as the initial stage of the construction cycle. It means that during the planning stage, if the proposed design could not reduce waste as much as possible, we need to redesign. Okay, we need to reimagine. Right, so that's the new approach being suggested by ST and Whiston in 2006. Okay, so that's what we call it as a waste management hierarchy. All right. So the next slide show some of the waste minimization strategies that being gathered from the extensive literature review that being conducted by myself lah. Okay, because for your information, my PhD is focusing on this construction and demolition waste. Okay, so here's some of the strategies that has been gathered from the literature. Right. Okay, as you can see, various strategies has been suggested throughout the construction cycle. Okay, as you can see in this last column, there are suggestions on how we can minimize the waste at the procurement stages, construction, designing and planning. Okay, yes, demolition. Okay, so there are a lot of studies that being conducted lah. Alright, for example, like at the planning and designing stage, a priority should be given towards a better material selection. Alright, material management. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, one of the sources of waste coming from materials. Alright, so then construction methods also will play will influence the waste generation as well. Okay, if you know that traditional method of construction will produce a lot of waste, why not you go for IBS, for example? Alright, so on-site or off-site production of components. Okay, so all the building component produced at the factory, deliver to the site, and then we install. Okay, which reduce on-site punya waste generation. Okay, so why not we change the construction method? Okay, and then another example at the construction stage, we can adopt effective teamwork and communication skill. Improvement collaborating, communicating among stakeholders or team players, team members in our construction project. Okay, during the construction stage. Okay, because if you don't communicate properly, perhaps it could influence the waste generation as well. All right, so here's some of the example of strategies that we can integrate in our construction projects in our country lah. Okay. All right. The next part, we have a look on the challenges. All right, the challenges that we need to overcome in order to emphasize or to enhance the development of effective waste management system in the construction project. Okay, some of the challenges that we need to overcome is one of them is regulation enhancement. Okay, so we need an improved regulation. Okay, we need an improved regulations in order to enhance the development of construction and demolition waste management. Okay, so when we are talking about regulation enhancement, we are talking about the governmental participation. Okay, means that government needs to play their role. Okay, because everything regarding regulation must come from authorities. Okay, for example, like government lah. Alright, so they need to perhaps they need to enhance the existing regulation, or if they don't have any, perhaps they need to introduce a new regulation related to waste management in construction. Right, and the second the second challenges that we need to overcome is awareness and mindset. Okay, so the difficulties to shift the mindset is very challenging lah. Okay, of course we are talking about mindset, especially mindset of changing the construction method. Okay, we are already comfort using the traditional method of construction. Okay, that's why we find it difficult to change to IBS, for example. All right. So that's one of the challenges lah, to shift the mindset, okay, to create the awareness that if you go for IBS, you will reduce waste, for example. All right, and then the last challenges is about lack of information. Okay, information related to construction and demolition waste are still lacking, especially in developing countries like Malaysia. Okay, for example, like in Malaysia particularly, I'm not sure they have completed it or not. For the time being, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have any record statistically in terms of the amount of waste that is being generated. Okay, the source of waste itself, because especially if you're looking at European Union, okay, they have a complete data. Okay, how much waste has been generated annually. Okay, what source of it. Okay, so because this data is very critical if we want to develop a proper waste management system. Okay, if you have a proper data, we can use it as a benchmark to develop, to see the efficiencies of our waste management system, whether we can reduce it or not. Okay, so we don't have so far. I'm not sure. As I know, I think in 2015, if not mistaken, I contacted SW Corp, Solid Waste Corporation Malaysia, okay, asking about the data of the amount of waste that's been generated from construction industry in Malaysia. Okay, so because I need the data for my PhD, because I only have a data which is out of date. Lama sangat data tu. I only have data on 2008 je data kot. Okay, but don't have any the latest one. I email to them, but my email didn't get any reply until today. Okay, so I'm not sure. From there, I believe that they don't have that data. When I did more, I found CITP, okay, Construction Industry Transformation Program. When I studied the CITP, one of the KPIs under CITP is that they are developing that data. Okay, I think some of academicians from UTHM got a grant from CIDB to carry out a study on how they can develop a data for construction waste in Malaysia. I'm not sure the progress of the study lah, whether it's being completed or not. Okay, so besides these challenges, the biggest challenges that we face, especially in developing countries, is the dependency on the labor-intensive method, which could influence waste generation. Okay, as I mentioned earlier lah. Okay, this is the biggest challenges. Okay. Because we are still depending on labor-intensive method, okay, traditional method of construction, which still using a lot of workers. Okay, why we are still find it difficult to move towards technology like IBS, because we are still quite easily can get foreign laborers and the salaries is still cheap. Okay, so kita senang nak dapat, so that's why kita susah nak berubah ke arah teknologi. Okay, sebab teknologi masih mahal. Traditional method, gunakan tenaga kerja masih murah. So that's one of the biggest challenges lah that we face in minimizing the waste that been generated from construction industry. Alright, next we move on to the government initiative. Alright, so one of the initiatives taken by the government is by introducing Green Building Index. Even though this Green Building Index not specifically focused on waste management, but at least by having this Green Building Index, we have a little bit element of waste minimization strategies on it. Okay, so that's one of the effort taken by the government. Okay, by I think Green Building Index developed by PAM. Okay, Persatuan Arkitek. Persatuan Arkitek Malaysia. So one of the objective of introducing this Green Building Index GBI is that we want to revive the construction industry to be more sustainable and more greener. Okay, so when we're talking about greener, we were talking about sustainable, of course, the element of waste management will be in place. Okay, so many countries have developed what we call it as a systematic guideline to measure how sustainable your project is, how green your project is. Okay, we call it as a sustainability assessment tools, because sustainable and green it's not much different lah. Okay, just the terms. Okay, but the objective is the same. We are protecting the environment. We are preserving the environment. Whether it is about sustainable or green construction, sustainable construction, the main objective is we want to preserve the environment. Okay, so many countries such as the US, UK, Australia, Singapore, and even Malaysia have created their own assessment tool, okay, to encourage a more sustainable construction outcome. Okay, here's some of the summary of those assessment tools. Okay, so as you can see, BREEAM UK developed in 1990. Okay, so as you can see, waste minimization strategies that has been emphasized in BREEAM is only on reduce and recycle. Okay, so another one example, LEED, developed in 1996 in US, also focusing on reduce and recycle. Okay, Green Star, okay, Australia, reuse and recycle. Green Mark Singapore, reduce and recycle. And GBI Malaysia, focusing on reuse and recycle. Okay, so it's not if you study GBI, it's not any you find difficult to find any specific element of waste management actually, but you study the criteria, you can identify one of them is focusing on reuse, one of them is focusing on recycle. Okay, so as you can see here, no tools emphasize on all the 3R principles: reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, not any of one of them. Okay, only focusing maximum 2. Okay, reduce, recycle, reuse, recycle, and so on. However, this is one of the good sign lah. Okay, a great platform to manage the construction and waste management properly. Okay, even though not all principle has been included in this assessment tools, but at least it's a good platform for us to focus more on construction and demolition waste. Alright, so this is one of the initiatives taken by the government by introducing GBI, even though not specifically on waste management, but still there is a little bit criteria that related to the element of waste management. Alright, next CITP. Okay, I think I touched this one on the lecture 2 on quality management system. Okay, so CITP being developed by CIDB in 2015. I think that we are moving towards the end of 2020. If I'm not mistaken, CIDB is planning to introduce another version of CITP, also 5 years program. I'm not sure they have already launched it or not. I have to check. Okay, but based on this CITP, there are 4 trusts, strategic trusts. Okay, I think it is a recap what you have. I think I touched it, this CITP on the quality management system. The one of the trust is environmental sustainability. Okay, and reducing the waste generation is one of the elements under the strategic trust. Okay, as you can see in this red one, reduce irresponsible waste during construction. Okay, so the inclusion of waste reduction in CITP has shown that the Malaysian government is very concerned about the issues of construction waste, and they realize the importance of having a proper construction and demolition waste management in our construction project. Okay, so that's one of the initiatives taken by the government. And then we have MyCRES. Okay. All right. So another, beside that's 2, we have another initiative. Okay. Introduced by the government, for example, like guidelines on construction waste management. Okay. Developed by CIDB. Okay, we have this guideline actually. Okay, I'm not sure you are aware about it or not. Kita boleh tengok. Okay, so this is the guideline developed by CIDB in 2018. 2008 guidelines on construction waste management. Okay. So you can see here the content, okay, role and responsibility of construction players, okay, waste management plan, okay, legislative and administrative requirement, okay, and they also include good management practices, okay, for example like waste management system, Putrajaya and so on. Okay, we have a guideline, but again, I'm not sure how far this guideline works, okay, whether it is being properly followed or not. Okay, so we have MICRES, all right, Malaysian Carbon Reduction and Environmental Sustainability Tool, also developed by CIDB with JKR, okay, Public Way Department. Okay, in terms of federal government, we have a regulation scheme for construction solid waste regulation in 2019. Okay, so that's one some of the initiatives taken by the government and also the government agencies like CIDB, okay, in emphasizing on the element of construction and waste management system in our country. Okay, so next we are going to talk about how we can manage the waste generation in the construction project. So basically, there are many tools and methods available. Okay, like for example, in the guidelines just now, you can identify WMP, waste management plan. Okay, even in Japan, they use zero waste punya scheme. Alright, we have circular economy that focusing on reducing waste in construction industry. Alright, so and then one of the concepts that we can consider in managing the construction waste in the construction project is by applying the concept of lean construction. Okay, lean concept ataupun we call it as a lean concept. Okay, before we go further on lean construction, let's have a look a little bit on the history of lean. Okay, daripada mana datangnya lean ni? Alright, so the concept of lean production has been developed by Toyota Motor Company in Japan in the late 1950s by Taiichi Ohno. Alright, so basically this lean concept has been firstly used on the manufacturing industry at the Toyota company in producing cars. Alright. So the effort started when they want to reduce the machine time of in producing the car in this company lah, Toyota. Alright, and then they set up a new production system that have the objective to identify and deliver value to the customer value. Alright, organize production as a continuous flow, perfect the product and create reliable flow through distributing information and decision making and pursue perfection. Okay, so in this scenario, they are looking at they have limited resources, and then they have limited time, and they have limited budget. So in order to make sure that they don't want to overproduce, that the reason this person Taiichi Ohno come with the idea of lean production. Okay, so they want to produce based on the demand. They don't want to overproduce. So instead of building a large stocks, they only produce exactly what the customer want. Okay, so if the order is only 1,000, so 1,000 units only they produce. Okay, not more than that. Okay, so this allow you to concentrate on your resources in order to fulfill what you are going to pay, to be paid, rather than thinking about how you want to place the building stock that you produce. Okay, the unit that not being sold yet. Okay, so you're focusing on the orders that you got lah. Alright, so that's what we call it as a lean production that being initiated by Taiichi Ohno. Alright, so in terms of value stream, okay, when we are talking about value stream, we are talking about the change reaction, about the supply chain, okay, the flow, the process, the activities involved in producing the car itself, for example, in this case, in Toyota scenario. Okay, the activities involved, the process involved, okay, they will detail up all the activities and they are going to have a look which activities can be eliminated. Okay, so they in that case they can reduce waste, okay, they can reduce cost and so on. All right, so that's what we call it as a value stream. Okay, later we are going to have a look more on it. Okay, so lean production comprises a variety of production systems that share certain principles. Okay, so again, as you can see here, the principle of lean production developed by Taichi Ohno just now is waste minimization. Okay, responsiveness to change just in time. Okay, maksudnya just in time is that as I mentioned earlier, you're going to produce what the customer want. Means that you will produce based on numbers of units that has been ordered. Okay, you will avoid overproduce. Okay, so that's what we call it as a just in time. Okay, so or in other words, you are going to produce what the customer want only in the quantities required or requested. Okay, so means that kalau if 1,000 only. Alright, so just now I talked about value stream, effective relationship within the value stream. Okay, the process involved. Okay, we are going to have a look on when you detail out the process, you can identify the numbers of levels needed. Okay, the equipment that will be required to produce that part. Okay, that component. So from there, maybe you can have a look on how you can reduce numbers of labor, eliminate certain activities or certain processes, and so on. Another principle of lean production is, of course, we are looking on continuous improvement and, of course, quality from the beginning. Okay, so this among the principles that has been considered in lean production initiated by Taichi Ohno. Okay, so that's a little bit history of lean concept, okay, which being first initiated in manufacturing industry, which is the Toyota company in Japan. Ada yang nak join ke? Sekejap. Alright. So now we have a look on lean construction. Lean concept was integrated in the construction industry in 1992. Okay, if you have a look on that on previous slide just now, the lean concept was introduced in manufacturing industry in the late 1950s. And it took about 40 years before being integrated in the construction industry. Okay, so basically, many definitions you can get it from literature regarding lean construction. Okay, one of them is given by Koskela in 1992. Okay, a way to design production to minimize waste, material, time, and effort in order to generate the maximum possible amount of value. Okay, Howell 1999, the goal of better meeting customer needs while using less of everything. Lukowski 2010, the practical application of lean manufacturing principle or lean thinking to the building environment. Okay, and Yahya and Muhammad in 2011 define lean construction as the management and improvement of construction process to profitability deliver what the customer needs by eliminating waste in the construction flow by using the right principle, resources, and measure to deliver things right first time. Okay, so that's how you can define lean construction concept. Okay, that's being integrated in the construction industry. Right. In summary, lean construction is a concurrent and continuous improvement to the construction project by reducing waste of resources and at the same time able to increase productivity and secure a better health and safety environment in order to fulfill the client's requirement as well as contributing to a sustainable and greener environment. Okay, so again, even though lean construction is not only focusing on waste, but still is one of the concepts that we can consider when we are talking about trying to reducing the waste generation in our construction project. Okay. Right. Lean construction is using the same approaches as lean production. Okay. So the approach is the same like being introduced in the Toyota company. Okay, to reduce waste and increase the productivity and effectiveness in construction work. Okay, so this is the what we call it as a 4P of the Lean Way introduced by Pais in 2005. Okay, so starting from problem solving, people and partner, process, and philosophy. Okay, so this is one of the Lean Way that we could integrate in our construction project. Okay, by focusing on this 4P. Alright. A primary goal of lean construction is to eliminate. If not possible to eliminate, at least we are looking at how we can minimize the waste at every opportunity. So lean construction target 8 major types of waste. Okay, so basically these 8 type of waste that being targeted by this lean concept. Okay, or lean construction. Okay, the first type of waste is defects. Okay, so defects are anything that is not done correctly at the first time. Okay, remember the definition of lean construction, we must do it right at the first time. Okay, if there is a defect in our construction project, we will require redo or rework that will waste the time and also materials. Okay, of course will incur the cost lah. Okay. Second category or second type of waste that being targeted is overproduction. Okay, so in construction, overproduction happens when a task is completed earlier than scheduled or before the next task in the process can be started. Okay, of course, in construction project, we develop planning. Okay, so we are expected this task will be completed in 2 weeks. But suddenly your workers work hard, being completed earlier, so you're not prepared for that, so you maybe 1 week you waste waiting for the next task to be carried out. Okay, so you need to plan properly lah, all right, in order to reduce this overproduction. Okay, waiting. All right, this is the most common scenario that leads to waiting in construction. Okay, when workers are ready, for example, when workers are ready, but the necessary materials needed for the work to be completed has not been delivered. Okay, your workers are ready to do the works, but the materials are not being ready yet. Okay, so belum sampai dan sebagainya. So in that case, also you need to focus on how you can reduce this type of waste of waiting. Okay. And next type of waste that we need to overcome is non-utilized talent. All right, so workers on the construction project have a range of skills and experience. Okay, so when the right person is not matched to the right job, their talent, skills, and knowledge go to waste. Okay, you have, for example, you have workers who have skills to use IDS, for example, but still you want to use traditional method of construction. So there's waste of talent there. So you have workers who have knowledge and skills to use BIM, for example, but still you don't want to implement BIM in your construction project. So in that case, you're wasting your talent in your organization or in your construction project. Okay, and number 5, the types of waste is transportation. Okay, the waste of transport happen when materials, equipments, workers are moved to a job site before they are needed. Okay, you still not required to use, for example, to use tower crane, but you already installed your tower crane on your construction project. Okay, so it also can be referred as a unnecessary transmission of information lah. It's not unnecessary to be done yet, but you have done it already. So you are wasting your time and also workers. Okay, for example, you transport your workers, but anything not being ready yet. Right, inventory. Okay, this is also one of the types of waste. Okay, materials that are not immediately needed are considered excess inventory. Okay, you are not ready to use brick yet, for example, but you already order the bricks. Okay, so in that case, you need to think on how you can store your bricks. Okay, you need to consider about the storage. Okay, when the time for the brick to be used, maybe it's already defects. Okay, ada faulty, damage. Okay, so you degrade the materials. All right, so that's one of the ways that you need to taking care of also. Alright, motions. Alright, movement that is not necessary. Alright, like distance between workers and tools or materials create the waste of motion, movement of the workers. Okay, so that's why in construction project we have learned about site management. Okay, so you need to develop a proper site layout. Okay, so you need to locate the most strategic location of your storage. Okay, the most strategic location of your tower crane, for example, and so on, in order to avoid waste on the motions part. And the last one is over processing. Okay, over processing happen when features or activities are added that have no value to the client. Okay, so perhaps you overproduce. Okay, so perhaps you can so over processing. So perhaps you can reduce this waste as well. So these are the 8 types of waste that being emphasized when you adopted lean construction in your lean concept in your construction project. Okay. Next, we are going to have a look on principles of lean construction. Okay, basically there are 5 principles of lean construction that can be implemented or integrated in our construction project. Number 1 is specify value. So in this context, it is important to define the customer value. Okay, so value is what the customer is willing to pay for. And however, in certain scenario, someone might not know what exactly they want. So perhaps in this case, you are looking at doing for example, like surveys or interviews to make sure that you are going to produce that something that has value for your customer. Okay, something has a great impact to your customer. So you need to make sure the needs of your customer, the requirement of your customers, okay, or your potential buyers. For example, you're building housing, for example, okay, what type of design they want, okay, whether they are looking at double story or whether they are looking at flat roof and so on, that kind of thing. So maybe you can conduct some surveys or some interviews before you start your project. Okay. All right, and then the next step is identify the value stream. Okay, just now I touched a little bit on value stream. Okay, so you need to identify the detail. You need to detail up your process, construction activities. Okay, so or maybe you can apply what we call it as a process mapping, so that could identify when you develop a process mapping, you can identify unnecessary activities which don't have any added value to your value or added value to your construction project itself. Okay, so you need to detail up, okay, from A to Z, your activities involved. And by applying the process mapping as well, you could also to avoid overproduction. Okay, you can plan a proper storage of materials. Okay, so in terms of site management, okay, you can identify unnecessary materials. You can develop a proper logistic management. You can prepare an effective motion. We're talking about motion of your labors and so on. Okay, so that's why it's very important for you to detail up your value stream or your activities, okay, from A to Z. All right, the next principle is flow. Okay, after we have removed all the unnecessary activities. Okay, after we detail up the value stream just now, we identify some unnecessary activities. Okay, we remove all the unnecessary activities. Okay, so the flow will be more ran smoothly. Okay, so we might consider to include some strategies to ensure that the flow is not being delayed or interrupted. Okay, so we must make sure the flow being run smoothly, effectively. Okay, there is no issue about shortage of material. There is no issue the workers could not do their work because the material is not being delivered yet, and so on. So we must make sure that we can run the project smoothly and effectively. Okay, so in this case, we can consider to apply some techniques introduced by the Japanese, known as Pokayok. Okay, so this Pokayok means a technique for avoiding simple human error at work. Okay, so maybe 5S and so on, something like that. Okay, so we also could consider to break down the step creating multifunctional department and workers lah. So you need to make sure you have a detail up who responsible for this part, for the activities and so on. So everybody involved in that particular project have a clear direction, clear responsible of that activities or of that projects. Okay. Right. The next principles is what we call it as a pull factor. Okay. Right. In this case, we need to establish pull in the construction process. Okay. Pull factors in the construction. It means that we are going to produce exactly what the customer wants. Okay. That's what we call it as a pull factor. Okay. What exactly demanded by the customer, demanded by the clients, that what we're going to deliver. Okay, no need to do more or less. Okay, so follow whatever requested by the customer or by the client. All right. So here come into place the application of JIT just now, just in time concept. All right. So because when you integrate just in time, you can create the element of pull factor in your construction project. So the concept of JIT will reduce the waste in inventory, and then will make your budget tight lah. Okay, so you will order what the amount of materials needed only. Okay, for that period. Okay, let's say for this 1 week. Okay, you are required only 3 pallets of brick, for example. So that order just that amount only. So don't overproduce and so on. And don't over order your materials, for example. So that's why we call it as just-in-time concept. Or just-in-time concept also is being excellent if you implement in the construction project that being located in the congested area. Okay, so the congested area means that, for example, like in the middle of the town, you involved in a refurbish project. Okay, you demolish one building and construct a new one. You don't have space for storage, for example. So just-in-time concept is excellent on that scenario. Okay, you just order the materials needed for that day only or for that week only. Okay, and the last principle is perfection. Okay, so this principle is the most important one lah. Okay, so you need to make sure every employee, every employer should strive towards perfections by finding ways on how they can improve and do better each and every day, each and every single day. Okay, so you need to find ways on how you can motivate the workers to make sure that they do the works right at the first time. Okay, reduce in order to reduce defect in the future and so on. Okay, so that's what we call it as principles of lean construction that could be considered. Okay, when you are trying to reduce waste in your construction project. All right. So lean construction, some of the concepts that work well with the lean construction concept, for example, like just in time, for example, just now, TQM. Okay, so lean construction is just one of the components lah. Okay, so you can integrate just in time in lean construction, total quality management, okay, business process re-engineering, okay, concurrent process, business process re-engineering means that you start from scratch to develop the organization to achieve dramatic changes in the productivity and quality. Okay, and we are talking about concurrent engineering, okay, also known as simultaneous engineering. It's a method of designing and developing product in which the different stages run simultaneously. I think in construction project, in construction activities, we have done it, okay, ataupun sometimes kita tak tahu nama dia concurrent engineering, but that's the term, the right terms lah. We doing activities simultaneously, okay, jalan serentak. Okay, so we need to have that kind of activities in your construction project. A lot of activities that can run concurrently, simultaneously in your construction project. Okay, last planner system. Okay, master plan. We are talking about value stream just now. Okay, detail up your activities and so on. Teamwork. Okay, and of course, OSAS, occupational health and safety. Alright, so in other words, when you implement lean construction in the construction project, every other aspect, for example, like quality, safety, and health will come into place as well. Okay. So, so the integration of all these concepts will increase the productivity, increase the profit, and job satisfaction of the client due to the commitment of all workers lah. Okay, so you need to make sure all these concepts will come into place when you want to integrate lean construction into construction project. Okay, there is a short video on lean construction.
Welcome to Lean Construction in 3 minutes. What is Lean? Lean is a system involving the continual transformation of waste into value from the customer's perspective. It focuses on 2 linked steps, the continuous elimination of waste and the creation and flow of value. With minimal waste without interruption, Lean Construction is improving the construction process to profitably deliver what the customer needs. There are 7 types of waste in construction that Lean eliminates. Transport, unnecessary movement of materials or products that does not directly support immediate production. It should be minimized as much as possible as it is not value-added activity, and the material will be exposed to handling damage. Inventory, supply in excess of what is required. Inventory includes raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. Excess inventory can quickly build up and tie up dollars and resources due to the additional handling and space needed. Motion, the extra steps taken by people to accommodate the inefficient process limit, defects, reprocessing, overproduction, or excess inventory. To move and add value is called work. To move and not add value is called motion. Waiting. Waiting refers to the periods of inactivity that occur because a preceding activity didn't deliver on time or finish completely. Waiting waste increases cycle time during which no value-added activity is performed. Over-processing. Unnecessary steps in operations, such as reprocessing, double handling, added communication, and double checking, which adds no value. Over-processing is often inserted into a process as a result of dealing with defects, overproduction, or excess inventory. Overproduction is producing more than is needed, faster than is needed, or before it is needed. This results in excess inventory traveling costs. Defects. Products, materials, or services that do not meet expectation or conform to specification. Corrections and defects are anything not done correctly the first time and must be repaired, sorted, remade, or redone, as well as materials which are scrapped due to defects. The benefits of lean construction reach the customer, business, management, and staff. The customer gets a more consistent service, improved flexibility, responsiveness, construction time, product quality, and a lower total cost. Business has a better cash flow and productivity, reduced stockholding, improved asset utilization, environmental benefits, improved profit, and improved customer relationship. Management gains by better collaboration between designer, general contractor, and subtrade, more reliable processes, less crisis management, improved staff flexibility and morale, and delegation of daily responsibilities. Staff receive improved safety and job satisfaction, greater ownership of work area, more pleasant work environment, less stress, and immediate feedback on their performance. For more information, visit www.leadingedgegroup.com.
So that's the video that summarized about lean construction lah. So So basically, lean construction is just a concept. Okay, it's not a regulation, it's not a guideline. It's a concept that you can consider in implementing this concept in the construction project. But however, there is some obstacles that we need to overcome in order to implement this concept in our construction project. Okay, one of them is lack of attentiveness and commitment from top management lah. Okay, as I said, I think during our first class, when we're talking about health and safety management, everything must start from top management lah. Okay, if there is no support from the top, you are not going anywhere lah. Okay. Difficulties in understanding the concept of lean. Okay, so as this concept is taken from manufacturing industry, there is some confusion in integrating this concept in the construction industry. But however, even though same concept and principle of lean manufacturing, basically there is not much difference between lean manufacturing and lean construction. It is quite similar. Okay, and sometimes we are not aware, actually we are using lean construction in our construction project. Okay, lack of exposure on the need to adopt the lean construction concept. Okay, because of course there is less promotion that could contribute to the lack of awareness lah. Okay, so perhaps we maybe government agencies, okay, CIDB maybe could play a part in creating more training or seminars related to lean construction to make sure that construction players aware about the existence of this concept and could consider it in minimizing the construction waste. The lack of proper training, okay, as the implementation of lean construction requires specific techniques. Okay, it's not easy lah actually. So that's why we need to have a sufficient training. Okay, again, not only we are talking about CIDB, maybe some of NGOs, some of private sector, private companies could create proper training in implementing this concept in the construction industry. All right, and weak communication among client, consultant, and contractors. Okay, as we are aware, construction project involve many organizations. Okay, and communication is one of the important aspects when you work in a large group of people. Okay, so because sometimes we cannot avoid this obstacle. Okay, weak communication, because we aware that some part construction project is fragmented. Okay, ada pengasingan dan sebagainya. Okay, so it's quite difficult sometimes we can have a direct communication among clients, consultants, and contractors. Yes. The next one is comfort zone. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we are already comfort with the traditional way of conducting our works. Okay, we are comfortable using the traditional method of construction. So in this case, we find it difficult to change towards a more modern method of construction, for example. And attitude and ability to work in group. Okay, because one of the aspect of lean construction is teamwork. Okay, so again, when we are talking about teamwork, it's about human factor. Okay, it's not easy to make sure that everybody will give 100% commitment. We are going to find it difficult to make sure everybody will be cooperated together. Okay, so it's very difficult to create a harmony environment, working environment in our construction project. And the last one, long implementation period of lean concept in construction process. Okay, as you are aware that this concept is still new in Malaysia, not that new lah, but still not everybody aware about this concept. And then in this case, time is very critical. So if you want to learn something, it will take time. So when you ask the construction players to study this concept, it will take a long time to understand, to get a better view. Perhaps they are reluctant to do so lah. Okay, so that's why we need to find ways on how we can make sure that construction players get the right knowledge on lean construction. Okay, and finally, for conclusion, simple one only, waste is what lah. Yang kita perlu tahu, we need to know that not all waste is waste, because some waste could generate income as well. Okay, maybe some of the waste could be recycled. Okay, when you recycle, perhaps you can generate income for your companies as well. Okay, for example, of course, I believe most of construction waste that has been recycled is steel. Okay, aside from that, not being recycled lah. Okay, and our recycle rate in Malaysia is only 15%. Okay, compared to developed countries like UK, US, up to 75%. Their recycling rate of their construction waste. We only 15%. Okay, so we are far behind lah. Okay, so that's all for today for this topic. If any question, you may ask now. Okay, ada soalan? Okay, what has been shared just now is just one of the example lah on how you can minimize waste. Okay, there are a lot of concept or strategies that you can use in minimizing waste lah. Okay, for example, like waste management plan, okay, sorting out waste on site. Okay, that's one of the things lah. IBS. Any question? If you have question for quality management system also, you can ask last 2 weeks when you watch all the videos. Senyap ni semua?
Doktor, Isaac ni.
Ya.
Nak tanya pasal lean tadi. Lean construction kan? Okay. Maksud saya explain tadi, eliminate or minimize waste, ada 8 from non-utilized talent. Macam waste ni, kalau yang macam saya faham is physical. How that this non-utilized talent can lead to waste.
Okay, I got your question. Alright, for your information, waste is not physical waste yang kita kena consider. Because waste can be, I think I didn't touch just now lah. Okay, waste can be, category of waste can be divided into 2. Physical waste and non-physical waste. Okay, non-physical waste tu lah termasuk dalam talent tadi, time, apa lagi, non-physical waste. Okay, yang physical waste of course lah kita tahu, concrete, brick dan sebagainya. Okay, we also need to think of on how we can reduce the non-physical waste as well. Okay, it's also one of the category of waste lah. That's why dalam lean construction dia emphasize on non-utilized talent tadi. Okay, they are focusing on non-physical waste. Okay, kalau you tengok not only non-utilized talent tadi, on another type is motion tadi. Okay, motion, movement of workers. There's also non-physical waste. Okay, boleh Isaac?
Thank you, sir. Alright. Thank
Alright.
you.
Okay. Any other question?
Assalamualaikum Dr.
Salam je.
Fazli sini sebab saya tengok past question Dr. yang based on the subject lah. Dia ada soalan pasal, saya pun kurang sama macam Isaac dulu tadi, tapi more tu soalan exam lah. Kata dalam soalan tu kata terangkan 5 jenis waste. Maksudnya bukan waste, maksudnya construction material punya tu bukan lah. Maksudnya yang tadi lah.
Yang tadi lah, yang daripada 8 tu pilihlah 5.
Maksudnya explain in term of tu apa related dengan construction. Betul?
Yes.
Dengan productivity.
Yes.
Faham. Okay, terima kasih.
Sama. Awal tengok soalan. Okay, for information, this subject untuk my part and Dr. Shaza also. Nanti Dr. Shaza explain lah dia punya part. Ikutkan saya punya 2 soalan exam kalau normal punya practice lah. My part will be in exam question ada 3, you kena jawab 2. Dr. Shaza pun ada 3, you jawab 2. Okay, Dr. Rostam tak ada soalan exam. Dia just focus on your design itu. Carry mark 40% settle untuk bahagian dia. Okay, untuk saya dan Dr. Shaza ada 2 soalan saya, 2 soalan dia yang you perlu jawab. Okay, itu normal practice lah. But because of this ODL, starting from last semester, I and also Dr. Shaza make a little bit of adjustment. Okay, you're not going to sit for virtual punya exam. We are going to give you some sort like continuous punya works. Okay, which I'm going to brief you next week. So next week is very important lah. Okay, so you kena dengar my explanation, apa saya punya expectation untuk you buat, apa you kena buat, and then macam mana you nak submit. Okay, so you tak ada masa macam exam week ada 3 jam you kena jawab online untuk submit, tak ada. Okay, so you punya boleh dalam arti kata lain, you punya exam portion punya mark start from next week sampailah ujung semester masa exam week you submit. So starting minggu depan bulan 12, exam week bulan 2. So roughly you ada lebih kurang 2 months untuk siapkan. So, banyak masa, so agak dah banyak masa tu kerja dia agak tak adalah susah sangat. Dia agak, you're going to learn a new things lah. Okay, next week. Anyone else?
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Saya nak tanya, which is
Mhm.
tadi you explain about GBI, right?
Yep.
And then you explain about the 3R
Yep.
concept. So I just saw it, and most of the in the world, which is they only took 2 of it.
Yep.
So why instead of 3, why they have only 2? So
Okay. Okay. Teruskan.
So how we can balance all the 3 elements? Of course, I know which is we cannot balance of 3 elements. At least we minimize for each of the what it means by the point of the key element for the 3R ones.
Okay. Alright, I got your question. Alright. The first reason why tak semua negara gunakan 3R, ketiga-tiga 3R tadi just now, salah satu sebab dia adalah kita kena ingat assessment tools tadi is not mainly developed for waste management system. Okay, dia bukan mainly fokus betul-betul on waste. Dia just some element of it sahaja. Kalau you tengok if you look at GBI pun sebenarnya dia tak ada clearly stated pun pasal reduce, recycle tadi. You kena betul-betul cari, baca dia punya ayat, oh ini ke arah reduce, ini ke arah recycle. Right, so that's the first reason. Kita kena tahu yang those assessment tool tu not mainly on waste management. Okay, so that's the first reason. The second reason, kenapa tak semua ambil 3R, kalau you tengok tadi, mana slide ni? Okay, kalau you tengok tadi, semua ni developed countries kecuali Malaysia. Okay, so developed countries kalau you tengok developed countries semuanya fokus on recycle. That's why dia punya recycle rate tinggi. And majority of these developed countries, of course waste is an issue, tapi tak seteruk macam developing countries like Malaysia. Okay, sebab most of the country yang develop ni dia dah ke arah modern method of construction. Dia dah guna IBS. Okay, cuma kat sana dia tak panggil IBS lah. Diorang panggil ada yang panggil prefab construction, ada yang panggil modern method of construction. Okay, so that's why they not particularly emphasize on the element of 3R principles. Okay, sebab waste dia tak separah compare to Malaysia lah. Okay, so again, that's among the reason lah kenapa tak semua TR. Paling utama sebab dia yang you kena tahu, assessment tool ni is not mainly developed for waste management. Okay, so it's just part of it. It's small part of it sebenarnya. Tak banyak pun sebenarnya. Boleh? Marni?
Boleh.
Okay.
Ada satu lagi question, boleh?
Alright, boleh.
Okay, last week kita belajar itu TQM tu, which
Okay.
is dia lebih kepada satu benchmark untuk quality performance dalam organisation.
Yeah.
Tapi which is minggu ni saja untuk waste management,
Yeah.
which is actually they have related for the both of it.
Yeah.
On the top management is very took part for that.
Yeah.
So in term of how I can relate that between the TQM waste management, and maybe we can using a concept of the lean construction.
Okay. How you can relate waste management? So actually, as I mentioned earlier, lean construction is a concept that will integrate other concepts as well. Okay, that include total quality management. Okay, so as I mentioned just now, waste is not only about physical. Okay, it's also included non-physical waste. So the objective of TQM is that you want to set certain benchmark for your organization. Okay, you need to set a certain standard that everybody must go for it. Okay, so how can you relate TQM with lean construction is that if you have the proper quality management in your organization or your construction project, in this case TQM, kalau company you integrate TQM in your organization, in your construction or in your construction project, so secara tak langsung you are going for the quality products, end product for your construction project. So secara tak langsung, bila you produce a quality product, you boleh go for reducing one of the types of waste, which is defect. Okay, so that's how we can relate lah. That's one of the example. Okay, so bila you have a proper quality management in your organization or in your construction project, okay, so secara tak langsung you are going for you are going to produce a quality product from your construction project. So indirectly you will reduce numbers of defect from your construction project. So secara tak langsung you are going to eliminate or minimize waste, one of the type of waste that has been categorized under lean construction. Boleh?
Okay, faham.
Okay,
Terima kasih.
sama. Lain?
Assalamualaikum Dr. Ni saya sekali lagi ni Dr. Ni yang
boleh.
berkaitan dengan pas last week punya ni QLASI.
Ya.
Sebab saya pun dapat ni soalan ni daripada member sekerja saya lah. Sebab saya pun tak tahu nak jawab. So far yang saya tahu QLASI ni yang saya faham lah. Macam untuk bangunan macam contoh plaster nak vertically dinding macam tu kan, betul tak?
Ya, betul.
Saya pernah come across lah, tapi tak banyak lah, ada 1-2 worldwide project saja. Memang dia spesifik dalam tender nak QLASI. Tapi yang my friend punya soalan, sebab dia dah sekarang ni dia kerja dekat developer dan dia punya job banyak facility management. Sebab dia dapat juga tender pasal facility management tapi nak QLASI. Tapi yang tu lah persoalan dia kata, apa kaitan QLASI macam so far yang macam saya cakap tadi, kalau tahu dinding nak kena cat, nak kena ni, kena rantai nak kena proper, tak ada hollow apa semua, tapi yang facility management ni saya tak faham. Kenapa konsultan tu nak juga QLASI?
Projek your friend tu projek facility management, projek apa?
Dia bangunan, banyak macam cek bangunan lah, property lama-lama yang dah siap, dia akan pergi inspection for macam kalau kerosakan ke apa ke.
Dia lebih kepada maintenance part, bukan dia develop from scratch.
Dia maintenance. Dia motor
Maintenance.
maintenance lah.
So the maintenance maksudnya bangunan tu dah ada cuma refurbish.
Dah ada, ya.
Itu saya pun confused juga tu. Sebab biasanya QLASIC ni untuk for new project.
Ni projek betul kan? Itulah.
For new project. I'm not sure lah kalau CIDB dah revise dia punya regulation, maybe untuk refurbish project pun boleh gunakan QLASIC. I'm not sure lah about that. But as far as I'm concerned, basically QLASIC ni normally for new project.
Oh, okay.
But if your friend punya kerja atau projek dia tu lebih kepada refurbish yang besar, contohnya dia tambah dinding ke, ada construct new room ke dalam bangunan tu, perhaps logik jugalah kalau ada QLASIC. Even though on bangunan lama, tapi still dia ada element of new, maybe new wall ke.
Okay, faham tak tu? Terima kasih.
Alright. Lain ada? Azlina Musafa. Tak ada soalan lagi daripada awak ini. Ada? Tak ada? Kalau tak ada, kita boleh, we can end our session for tonight. And then we are going to continue next week lah. As I told you just now, next week is very important session for you. So because I'm going to brief the assessment type of assessment that you're going to go through. So perhaps kalau you tak dengar betul-betul nanti, perhaps you mislead lah when you do your assessment. Okay, if there is no more question, I can end up the session for tonight. Okay, thank you for your time and commitment. Okay, take care. Alright, I'm going to see you next week. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright.
Thank you, Doktor.